In every corner of the world, humanity stands restless, surrounded by light yet living in darkness. We have built cities that touch the clouds, machines that travel through the stars, and networks that connect every heart. But still, the soul feels empty. We speak endlessly but say little that heals. We see everything yet notice nothing that matters. And we have forgotten the very truth that holds the world together: the fear of God. Once, this fear was not terror. It was reverence. It was the silent voice inside the human heart that said, "Stop before you wrong another soul." It was the whisper that restrained the powerful, that softened the hard-hearted, that kept justice alive. But today, that voice is faint, buried beneath greed, pride, and the arrogance of believing we control our own fate. Look around you. The world cries not from hunger alone, but from the absence of conscience. Nations rise with pride and fall with corruption. Leaders speak of peace but trade in blood. And ordinary people, distracted by glittering screens, scroll past human suffering as if it were fiction. Where are the tears? Where is the compassion? Where is the trembling before the Almighty who sees it all? Every book of divine revelation, every messenger of truth, came to remind us that life is a test, and the judge never sleeps. But humanity has turned the test into entertainment. We laugh at sin, we mock the sacred, and we glorify rebellion. We build monuments for fame but forget the poor at our gates. And even believers once guided by humility now measure their worth not by righteousness but by wealth, power, and popularity. This video is not just a message, it is a mirror. Look into it and ask yourself, when was the last time I felt the awe of standing before God? When was the last time my heart trembled at injustice, not just for myself but for others? Have I become one of those who see evil and remain silent, thinking, "It is not my concern"? If so, then you too are part of the silence that allows oppression to thrive. The greatest tragedy is not when the wicked act, it is when the righteous stay silent. And silence today has become the most accepted sin. We see wars waged on truth, morality buried under politics, and religion turned into a banner of convenience. But God's justice never sleeps. He has shown through the rise and fall of nations that arrogance leads only to ruin. Remember the civilizations that came before us, mighty empires that thought they would last forever. They had wealth, armies, and knowledge, yet they collapsed because they lost the fear of God. Their palaces turned into dust, their names into history, and their arrogance into warning. We are walking that same path, building towers of pride while our hearts crumble inside. Faith is not a word. It is a way of life. It means walking with humility, speaking with truth, earning with honesty, and standing firm against injustice even when it costs something. The fear of God is not to hide from Him. It is to live knowing He is always near. It is to think before every word, to check before every act, and to remember before every decision. Will this please my Creator? In every home, in every heart, the spark of goodness still exists, but it must be fed by remembrance, not by distraction. When the believer fears God, he fears nothing else. When a woman builds her character on modesty, she becomes the pillar of her family. When a man builds his conduct on integrity, he becomes the protector of society. And when a nation stands united under the fear of God, no weapon can defeat it. The time has come to awaken, not through anger, but through reflection. To realize that the real battle of our age is not between East and West, not between nations or races. It is between the soul and its forgetfulness. Technology has grown, but wisdom has shrunk. Knowledge spreads faster than ever, but understanding is fading. And the loudest voices are not those of truth, but of entertainment and deceit. So pause for a moment. Imagine standing before your Lord alone, where no follower, no nation, no wealth can defend you. What will you say when He asks, "What did you do when you saw injustice? Did you share truth when others mocked it? Did you guard your heart when the world lost its shame? If we cannot answer now, how will we answer then?" But it's never too late. Every soul that repents becomes a candle in the darkness. Every person who speaks truth becomes a voice of hope. Every small act of kindness written for the sake of God becomes a mountain of reward on the day of judgment. Let this be your moment of return, not to rituals without meaning, but to a life of sincerity, humility, and reverence. Start with one act. Forgive someone who wronged you, help someone in need, pray with real feeling, and thank God even in hardship. This is how nations are rebuilt, heart by heart, home by home, through the living light of faith. To those watching this, remember, your clicks, your shares, your words, your silence, all are recorded. You cannot change the whole world, but you can awaken one soul. And maybe that one soul will awaken another until light overcomes darkness again. So rise with courage, guided by fear of God and love for humanity. Be the believer who feels deeply, speaks truthfully, and lives honorably. For the day will come when every eye will see and every heart will know that power, wealth, and fame meant nothing. But the fear of God meant everything. Let this message echo across the earth. Return to humility. Return to conscience. Return to God. Because in the end, that is where peace begins, and where it never ends. Please subscribe this channel and press the bell icon to receive notifications of future videos. When uploaded, please note this is a mission for those who are indulging in bad habits without knowledge of their parents or are disobedient to them. Everyone wants to earn from the YouTube channels, but fewer are dedicated to run channels that may be giving lessons to those who require to be on the straight path.